I've covered several of the Piccadilly line stations, but for Northfields I thought I'd do something a little different. I thought I'd film it at night. There's something very inviting about these stations at night. Northfields is, as I said at the beginning, on the Piccadilly line, and it's one of Charles Holden's designs. This style is often called a brick box with a lid, but I think that's oversimplifying things somewhat. These stations were simple, but elegant, making a lot of use of space and light. Materials primarily employed are brick, concrete, steel and glass, and in theory it should all be very dull, but somehow it works. At night these stations really stand out, and that's something I've never really demonstrated on this channel. Northfields, or at least the current version of it, turned 90 last year. It opened on the 19th of May 1932. But the story goes back further than that. See, it wasn't always on the Piccadilly line. When it was first built, it was on the District Railway, which you would know, of course, as the District Line. The line through here was opened in 1883 and ran to Hounslow Town, a station that no longer exists that was where Hounslow Bus Garage currently stands. The following year, a new branch was opened to Hounslow Barracks, the station that's now called Hounslow West. The line passed straight through Northfields without stopping. There was no station here. On the 16th of April 1908, the district changed their mind and opened a halt called Northfield Ealing. Within a couple of years they had decided that a halt was clearly not enough and rebuilt the station to something more substantial. In 1911 it was renamed to Northfields and Little Ealing. You can see the site of this on the other side of the bridge from the current station, by the way. There was a bit of an odd situation with the line through here. The viaduct west of Turnham Green was owned by the London and South Western Railway, who generally had a fairly friendly relationship with the district, but at the same time were nervous about them. Both companies ran commuter trains into London, you see. The LSWR limited the trains that could run over that viaduct, which of course impacted the number of trains that could run to Northfields, which lies west of that. The District Railway was owned by Underground Electric Railways of London. So too was the Great Northern Piccadilly and Brompton Railway, which was commonly known as the Piccadilly Tube, and is now the Piccadilly Line. The Piccadilly Tube terminated at Hammersmith, but UERL figured in the 1920s that they'd like to extend it along the District Line to Hounslow and Richmond. Richmond didn't happen, of course, but Hounslow did. This involved a lot of engineering, mostly in the form of doubling the existing track and preventing the two lines from getting all tangled up. It also involved negotiations with the Southern Railway, who had taken the London and South Western Railway over in 1923, and who handed over control of that troublesome viaduct to the Piccadilly Tube in 1926. At Northfields it was decided that a depot was needed, and therefore the old station would have to go. A new station was planned on the other side of the bridge. This is where Charles Holden steps in. The new station was to be called Northfields, none of that Little Ealing nonsense, and would be something rather grander than what had gone before. And that's what we got. A cavernous booking hall with gigantic windows. I particularly like the sky blue ceiling. The station has 4 platforms, reflecting the fact that it was originally intended to be served by 2 lines, both the District and the Piccadilly. When the station originally opened, it was District Line only. On the 9th of January 1933, the Piccadilly Line started running trains here. The Piccadilly Line was considered quite prestigious as underground lines went, for the simple reason that it was the fastest. Admittedly not by much, but in the cutthroat world of 20th century commuter transport, every minute counted. In October 1964, the District Line was withdrawn, leaving Northfields as Piccadilly Line only, which is how it remains to this day. Due to the existence of the depot, Northfields seems to have been used as a convenient break. During the brief transitional periods of the Piccadilly Line arriving and the district being withdrawn, Northfields was used as a terminus for those services. The station has seen a few changes over the years. There used to be another exit to Weymouth Avenue, which was removed in 1942. Originally, there were concrete lampposts outside, which were removed in the 1980s and replaced with some more modern lamps that aren't exactly in line with the rest of the station. The entrance occupies the entire front of the tower for maximum passenger flow. Frank Pick was the commercial manager of UERL with a background in marketing. His work on advertising led him to the belief that stations should be utilitarian but also elegant, and that the two concepts could work together. A philosophy that Charles Holden seized and ran with. It hardly seems like a revolutionary idea these days, but it's amazing how many architects since Holden have totally failed to make it work. On either side of the booking hall entrance, you have these shops. The benches and uplighters in the booking hall are actually relatively modern features, only having been installed in 1993. But they definitely fit the style. There used to be ticket machines in the middle with lights on top of them, so uplighters were needed when those were removed to keep this big space brightly lit at night. I do think it's a shame that these anti-pigeon spike things have had to be installed on them, though. Light really is everything in this design, as well as the huge windows and the uplighters. These glazed bricks were used because they reflect light. They were rather more hard-wearing than the bricks at the higher level. At one time, as you can see here, there were public phones, and this is also one of the few tube stations that has public toilets. In 1994, the whole shebang was Grade 2 listed, although I don't think anyone has any plans to knock it down anytime soon. Replica lamp standards were installed on the platforms to complement the original platform signs. In many ways, Northfields is a fairly unremarkable station, one of a number of Charles Holden-designed Piccadilly line stations. But when it comes to Charles Holden-designed Piccadilly line stations, even an unremarkable station is an architectural triumph. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this moonlit tale from the tube. Please leave a like down below and consider subscribing for more, if you are one of those folk who has not yet done so. Let me know what you think about the nighttime filming thing. I have to say, I do quite enjoy filming at night when I'm in an urban setting. It's something different, and I like the effects of the lighting. Anyway, I would, as always, like to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. You are the lid to my brick box. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.